Conditioning every day we're out there for me, but it's going good. It's going good.
What do you like about the depth of your group? Obviously, not as many proven guys.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we really are working on, and that the depth is going to be a real key because, as you know, we have a real belief in rotating guys. And that was a big positive for us last year, and really that's why the first unit we're very optimistic about because they played so much last year. Now we got to develop another group to be able to come behind that new first group, and they're working very hard, but that's going to be a big key for us.
Greg, what have you noticed out of Rashan, like mentality-wise and intelligence-wise?
Well, Rashan, Rashan comes out every day like he's a senior. And he's done that throughout the winter conditioning. He's really, he came off this last season, and I really think it had a lot to do with Taco and Chris Wormley, the way they mentored him, and they set a great example for what you have to do to be successful. And Rashan is a tremendously talented young man. He's got great character, and he just stepped forward from the start of conditioning to right into spring practice. Every day he comes out and tries to lead by example, and you'd never be able to tell that the young man is going into his sophomore year. He's having a real good spring.
He said that he was looking forward to like nitpicking himself a little bit more. He said he was hitting the film a lot harder, rather. What have you noticed about him in that aspect?
He has, and that's why I say he acts almost like he's a senior. A lot of times when you're a sophomore coming off a good season as a freshman, you kind of, okay, I got it. But he's really critical of himself. He listens to every coaching point, and when that happens, you've got a special young man, and he leads the other guys by that. They see him doing some really, really athletic things on the field. They watch him do it, and all of a sudden, that's like somebody saying, "This is how you do it." And he's been a very good example for everybody.
What's the ceiling for him and Mo lining up next to each other?
Yeah, that's we're excited about that. Both of them have played a lot of football and are very, very explosive. They give us a great deal of speed and quickness, and Mo Hurst again is a fifth-year player now that's played a lot of football here, and it's time for him to really reap the benefits of all he's done and take it the next step farther. And he showed that also this spring. So I'm excited about Mo.
How important is his role, Monet's role, and even Winovich's role going to be, given that this is such a young group behind them?
Very, very important because, unlike them last year when they were right there behind that first group, now they're there and there's a group of guys that haven't played, so there's a little bigger gap. So they have to always show the right way to do it. It can't be, now that's okay. It's got to be right. It's got to be championship type effort. It's got to be championship technique. And they understand that, the spotlight's on them a little bit more because, there's a real young group behind them.
Some great athletes don't become great football players. That's not an area of concern with Rashan, probably, right? Have you seen enough from him to know that he's going to be a great player?
Yeah, because he has it inside. You're right. There have been some really, really outstanding athletes, but maybe when it comes to game time, they don't do what their athleticism shows. Well, he's showed. Again, I keep going back to winter conditioning. It's a small thing, but when you have a guy that is 6'5", 285 pounds that leads the sprints and leads the conditioning and leads it and does everything the way he's supposed to do it, now you've got something special happening. And he's that's what he's shown. And Mo's been the same way. And Winovich and Brian Monet. The four of them have really, really tried to show that. And they have to keep doing it.
Greg, one thing you mentioned each year, you have to build depth in your defensive line. Something that's a constant every year. But what's different? What's the key this year for building depth in this defensive line group?
Well, I think the biggest thing in the depth is that these guys behind them have to move faster towards that level than the last group did. You know, the last group had been right on that verge, and then they were that. This group hasn't been in the playing time. They've been out redshirted or they've been freshmen, so they haven't really been on that field. So they've got to take a bigger step to get up to that level to be able to rotate. And we always talk about you earn the right to rotate. You know, two things can happen. If you don't earn the right to rotate, now you've got four guys playing the whole time, and they're never going to play as good as if you have guys to rotate for them. And so that's a big thing for us, that some of these guys behind them have got to close that gap fast, and they're working at it.
Has started to step up this spring.
Yeah, Carlo Kemp has had a very, very good spring. And we kind of thought that last year when he came in early, but I would say Carlo Kemp has been one who has really showed some things. You know, he shows that he has the ability, and now he's got to do it every play, every day. You know, and that's usually the thing that separates people, the ones that can show it, but then there's a day off where they don't, you know, where you got to do it every day, every play, and I think he's understanding that, you know. You know, we got a couple other young kids that show they have talent. Donovan Jeter has showed some things. You know, he showed us that he can do some things. You know, and you know, I think those are the two guys really that kind of have stepped forward at times, you know, and now we've got to bring some of the other guys along.
Who are some of the guys vying for the tackle positions?
Lawrence Marshall, Ron Johnson, Carl Myers has shown some signs at times, you know, and we just got to get the consistency. Mark Dwumfor has shown some things too. I mean, he did some things in practice today where you can see his athleticism, his movement, you know, so he's another one we'll be counting on, you know, and, you know, they're the ones that have really shown the most.
With Chase, how much development have you seen out of him in the last year, you know, having that full season of experience last year playing at that spot?
Chase has got a lot more confidence. He's got a lot stronger. And I think he understands the position way better. You know, Chase started out as a defensive player his freshman year, then was moved to tight end, and then going into the bowl game 2 years ago, we moved him back, and then all last year he played. So this is really only his second year playing the defensive end position, and he's showing some really good things.
See him as being more of an every down fit now.
Oh yeah,
with,
no question.
Not just kind of
no question. He's so much stronger. You know, he's so much stronger physically than he was. You know, and I think he's gained some weight and he's kept his speed. You know, so he's going to be. I think he's going to be what we're looking for.
So Greg. Greg Dwumfor is not out for the spring then, because I think
he's been out there working out. He's you know, he's not in contact all the time or anything like that, but he's doing a lot of the movement and things like that, so that's good.
Sorry to go back to Chase, but you mentioned that you can see a new confidence in him.
Yeah, sometimes overconfident. You know, there's always that. You know, when a young guy has success, sometimes he thinks he's got it all the way, you know, where you can always get better, you know, and that's not a negative thing. But, you know, one thing that I like about Chase is that he seems like he's one of those guys that when he has success, he likes it even more. You know, he's like, you know, you see some guys that get a sack and you may not see another sack for a couple series. Well, he's the one who gets a sack and he wants another sack right away on the next play. And you got to tell him it's a running play. Don't be going for a sack on this, you know. But he loves being successful, and that's a good quality. You know, it's a good quality of a young man that's hungry to be successful.
You had some other guys who were kind of quiet in that room, Rashan and Monet, and I mean Chase is not. I mean, how much does that kind of help you guys in terms of leadership in that room and stuff? His personality.
He's got a personality. I don't know if that gives you leadership sometimes, you know. But no, one thing about our defensive line room is there's nothing sacred in there. You know, we make sure that every little thing is brought up, and we have fun with it too. But you know, sometimes guys don't see it the same way at first, and then we have to make sure they do. But we have fun in our room, and he does have a good personality. And you know, all of our kids have really good personalities. You know, they love playing football, and I think they love our room. And I keep going back to, I don't know if they'll ever appreciate as much as they should of what they had when they had Glasgow, Godin, Wormley, and Charlton in that room, leading that room. That was a special group, and for them to be part of that kind of gives them the thing that we want to be that way too. Okay, well, now you got to work to be that way, and that's kind of the bar now. That's what you want. You want to be like they were and play like they did, and that's what we're shooting for.
How's this group doing against the run in the early going?
Really well. I've been very, very pleased with how they're doing in the run. Playing the run, I don't worry about. You know, Brian Monet is strong in there, and Mo Hurst has done it for years. You know, and Rashan. You know, I'm not worried about playing a run with that group. You know, I think the thing we got to try to get is a little better pass rush. You know, we got to try to make sure we can change phases and go from run to pass, and you know that's what we got to keep working on.
So Greg, I think last year you guys was at Ford Field, I believe. Was that about the time when you guys decided to move Carlo from linebacker to defensive end? Was that?
No, I think it was before that. I think we started him out when he came here, just trying to see, you know, and, you know, you really didn't think he would do it, but you always want to see, try to get, you know, and when guys come early, what you usually see with a lot of young men, I mean, that's a big transition now. That's hard. Now, they should be at their prom, and they're here having practices at Michigan. Like, nobody can have practices like that. And for them to get through that, and for them to do that, you know, he grew up a lot, you know, and he's got such good character too. He's really has it inside him. You know, he's got a chance to be a really good football player.
You mentioned that this is sort of Mo Hurst's time to reap the benefits of his development. In what areas have you seen him develop the most over the last 5 years?
Well, I think playing low. I think one thing Mo Hurst, and you have to be careful as a coach. There are some guys that can make plays, and they're not always inside the defense, you know. But you don't want to take that away from them. But you can't trust them until they become very, very program oriented like he is. So now he knows, okay, I'm not going to take that away from you, but you got to know, I got to be able to trust you to know when you can do that. And he's grown up a lot now, and he knows how important it is for him to play technique, but there are times when he can use his athleticism to really play.
Rashan was saying last week that he thinks he and Hurst could be the best duo in the country on that side of the D-line. You like that confidence out of guys?
I love the confidence. I love guys that feel strongly about the guy next to him. That's what you shoot for. You know, if you don't have that if guys don't practice hard. You know, like if one guy's practicing hard and another guy's not, well, first of all, the other guy's going to hear about it, and they're going to say, well, we got to both get together. Well, they're both doing a good job, so they both, kind of playing off each other, and that's good. We want, our deal is we got to get all four to be that way, and I think we're getting close.
Well, that's where it was last year, right?
Yeah, no question. That's how it was last year, and I think we'll get there. Brian Monet has had a very, very good spring. He's getting better and better, and he had a great spring. He had a great camp last year, and then he got nicked up, and I think he's getting that back now.
To see him, because I mentioned it to him last year when he came out injury-free, he was really happy, and then obviously the injury. Asked him last week, and he said he felt healthy. He said, I mean, is it fine? is this maybe going to be a year where we see him at full go?
Oh, I hope so. I mean, that's what we're counting on, and that's what he's working for. You know, and you can never control it. You know, in football, you never know. You know, but I know one thing: he's going out every day trying his hardest, and he's trying to get better. And that's all you can do. It's a physical game. Football's a physical game, and you can never say, "Oh boy, he's going to make it all the way through." You know, but and especially playing where he plays, right in the middle, in the way he plays. But you know, he comes out every day going as hard as he can.
Appreciate it, Greg. Thanks.
Thank you.